In a world driven by fast-thinking and smart individuals, Forrest Gump, a unique child raised by a determined and resilient mother, embarks on a challenging and unconventional life journey. Despite his physical limitations and a lower-than-average IQ, Forrest possesses an indomitable spirit and a kind-hearted nature. His life takes an unexpected turn when he becomes friends with Jenny, a girl who will play a pivotal role throughout his life. Forrest is shown narrating his life story to strangers at a bus stop. Throughout these recollections, the strangers witness his interactions with iconic figures like Elvis Presley, John F. Kennedy, and Richard Nixon, making it hard for them to believe. Forrest's journey also includes his achievements as a college football star, a ping-pong champion, Vietnam War hero, building a popular and successful shrimp business, Bubba Gump Shrimp Company, and his unwitting influence on popular culture as a cross-country marathon runner. Come, let's delve into the most fascinating and incredible journey of Forrest Gump, exploring the challenges he encountered and if he managed to find success in his endeavors. Hello and welcome to Raining Reviews channel. The movie begins in the 1981 timeline as a feather descends from the sky, gracefully drifting through the air. The feather's journey is graceful and unhurried, mirroring the pace of the film's narrative. The feather carried by the wind eventually lands at the feet of Forrest Gump, Tom Hanks, the film's main character, who is sitting on a bench at a bus stop in Savannah, Georgia. This seemingly insignificant moment becomes the catalyst for the entire story. The feather serves as a metaphor for the randomness of life and sets the tone for the entire movie. Forrest picks up the feather, places it in a Curious George book, and begins to recount his life story to strangers who happen to be waiting at the bus stop. Forrest's narration then takes us to his childhood, where he is shown wearing leg braces to correct a curved spine. Residing in Greenbow, Alabama, Forrest shares a home with his mother, Sally Field, who manages a boarding house. Among the individuals temporarily residing at their boarding house is a young Elvis Presley. During his stay, Elvis plays the guitar for Forrest and draws inspiration from the boy's distinctive leg and hip movements, incorporating them into his performances. Despite the challenges posed by his leg braces and the taunts from others, Forrest's mother instills in him a sense of self-worth and confidence. In a poignant moment, she encourages him with the iconic line, "Mama always said life was like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're gonna get." In a later scene, the school principal informs Forrest's mom that her son has an exceptionally low IQ and that he needs to attend a special school for children with intellectual disabilities. Forrest's mom is determined to ensure that her son receives an education in a regular school environment. Despite the principal's insistence on placing Forrest in a special school, she passionately advocates for him, arguing that he is not so different from the other kids. The principal, however, remains unconvinced and is adamant about following the standard protocol for children with perceived intellectual challenges. Nevertheless, she succeeds in securing Forrest an opportunity for a conventional education by persuading the principal in an unconventional manner, exemplifying a mother's confidence in her child's abilities in defiance of societal norms, underscoring the depth of her sacrifice. Subsequently, Forrest can be seen at the school bus stop, and upon boarding, he observes a bus filled with students. Despite facing rejection from other children who are reluctant to share a seat, Forrest's face remains resilient. Jenny, Robin Wright, though initially apprehensive and careful, extends a gesture of kindness by offering Forrest a seat, symbolizing the beginning of their enduring friendship. Forrest is captivated by Jenny's innate kindness and beauty. As the bus ride progresses, Forrest and Jenny start talking, and a genuine connection forms between them. They begin to meet regularly, sharing their preferences and dislikes with each other. On another day, a group of boys on bicycles is shown bullying Forrest, subjecting him to taunts and hurling stones at him that creates a distressing situation for the young boy. Jenny intervenes to protect Forrest and, in a touching moment, urges him to run away from the bullies. As Forrest starts running, something remarkable happens: the leg braces snap off. This unexpected turn of events not only surprises the bullies but also reveals Forrest's extraordinary talent for running at remarkable speeds. Later, Jenny falls victim to sexual abuse perpetrated by her widowed, alcoholic father, but she is eventually taken out of his custody and sent to her grandmother. In another instance of evading bullies, the transformative moment occurs when the college football coach witnesses Forrest's remarkable speed during a practice session. Taken aback by Forrest's extraordinary running skills, the coach makes the decision to include him on the team. Forrest's rise as a college football star is marked by his uncanny knack for running. His running skills become a strategic asset for the team, and he excels on the field, ultimately scoring touchdowns with ease. Forrest earns a football scholarship to the University of Alabama in 1962. Under the coaching of Bear Bryant, he excels as a premier kick returner, secures a spot on the All-American team, and has the opportunity to meet President John F. Kennedy at the White House. Upon completing college in 1966, Forrest joins the U.S. Army. During basic training, he forms a close bond with a fellow soldier named Benjamin Beaufort "Blue" Mykelti Williamson, affectionately known as Bubba. Bubba hails from a family deeply immersed in the culinary world as shrimp chefs, and hence he has extensive knowledge, passion, and aspires to start a shrimp business. Bubba persuades Forrest to join him in the shrimping business after their military service. Taking leave from duty, Forrest visits Jenny in Memphis, Tennessee. Jenny, who was expelled from college for appearing in Playboy, is now working as a singer in a strip club. However, an incident where Forrest defends her from harassers leads to an awkward parting between them. As they prepare to go their separate ways, Forrest reveals to Jenny that he has received orders to serve in Vietnam as part of the ongoing conflict. In response, Jenny imparts advice to Forrest and urges him to make a promise, that if he ever finds himself in trouble, he should simply run and not attempt to be brave. Following this, Forrest and Bubba are deployed to Vietnam, serving with the 9th Infantry Division in the Mekong Delta under the command of Lieutenant Dan Taylor, Gary Sinise. After routine operations, their platoon falls victim to an ambush while on patrol, resulting in casualties, including Bubba. Forrest, despite being shot in the buttocks, heroically saves several comrades, including Lieutenant Dan, who loses both of his lower legs in the attack. While recovering, Forrest discovers a talent for ping pong. Lieutenant Dan, embittered by surviving and harboring a desire to die in combat like his forebears, resents his newfound handicap. Forrest, in contrast, receives the Medal of Honor for his bravery, presented by President Lyndon B. Johnson. Forrest, who has inadvertently become a national celebrity due to his extraordinary feats in war, visits Washington, D.C. after the award ceremony. Forrest's unintentional involvement in the anti-war speech is a powerful moment on the unpredictability of influence. Despite his limited understanding of the political landscape, his sincerity and genuine nature strike a chord with the audience. During the anti-war speech at the Pentagon rally, Forrest unexpectedly comes across Jenny, expressing surprise at her presence. Subsequently, Jenny introduces him to Abby Hoffman of the Black Panther Group. Jenny, now a drug-addicted hippie and anti-war activist, and Forrest are soon separated again when she departs to San Francisco with her abusive boyfriend, Wesley, the president of SDS at Berkeley. Meanwhile, Forrest engages in ping-pong matches through special services, participating in ping-pong diplomacy events against Chinese teams. His prowess in the sport turns him into a celebrity, and he secures an interview alongside John Lennon on The Dick Cavett Show, appearing to have an influence on Lennon's song, Imagine. In the year 1972, Forrest welcomes the New Year's Eve in New York City with Lieutenant Dan, who has turned to alcoholism and remains bitter about his disability and the government's indifference to Vietnam War veterans. Despite Lieutenant Dan arranging for prostitutes, Forrest, devoted to Jenny, rejects their advances, leading to a confrontation that results in Lieutenant Dan dismissing them for disrespecting Forrest. Forrest's success in ping-pong eventually leads to a meeting with President Richard Nixon. He is provided a room in the Watergate complex, where unwittingly, he plays a role in exposing the Watergate scandal. This segment of the narrative underscores Forrest's unintentional involvement in significant historical events and the continued theme of his influence on those around him. In 1974, Forrest receives an honorable discharge from the Army and returns to Greenbow. He accepts $25,000 to endorse a ping-pong paddle featuring Mao Zedong. Forrest meets Bubba's family in Bayou La Batterie, Alabama after the Vietnam War as he decides to fulfill a promise he made to his friend Bubba, who tragically lost his life during the conflict. Forrest also pays a visit to Bubba's resting place and decides to carry out this dream. Forrest purchases a shrimp boat and initially struggles to find success in catching shrimp. Later, Lieutenant Dan joins hands with Forrest's as first mate, and despite initial challenges, their boat emerges as the sole survivor of Hurricane Carmen. Following this, they see immense success, hauling in abundant shrimp and establishing the lucrative Bubba Gump Shrimp Company. While Lieutenant Dan later acknowledges Forrest's role in saving him, he refrains from explicitly thanking him for saving his life. Investing his money in early tech company Apple, which Forrest mistakenly identifies as some kind of fruit company, Lieutenant Dan and Forrest both achieve millionaire status. Forrest honors his commitment to Bubba by giving half of his earnings to Bubba's family for inspiring the shrimping venture. Forrest receives a call about his mother falling ill, prompting him to rush to her side immediately. Returning home, Forrest cares for his mother during her terminal battle with cancer. After her passing, Forrest dedicates much of his time to volunteering as a gardener at the University of Alabama. In 1976, Jenny, in the process of recovering from years of substance abuse and mistreatment, reunites with Forrest. One day, as the two take a stroll, they chance upon Jenny's father's now deserted house. In a fit of rage, Jenny hurls every available rock at the abandoned structure until she collapses in emotional turmoil. Subsequently, Forrest proposes to her, but she declines, leaving Forrest disheartened. Later that night, Jenny confesses her love to Forrest, leading to an intimate encounter. Despite this, Jenny departs next morning, leaving Forrest heartbroken. Driven, for no particular reason, Forrest begins an extensive cross-country marathon, gaining fame for yet another extraordinary achievement. Forrest starts his run on the East Coast and decides to run all the way to the West Coast of the United States. He gains followers and supporters. Initially, it's just a few curious onlookers, but as his journey progresses, more and more people join him, including struggling businessmen who find unwitting inspiration in his endeavors. Forrest's run gains widespread media attention, with news outlets covering his progress. After approximately 3 years and 2.5 months of continuous running, Forrest decides to conclude his marathon and returns to Greenbow, much to the surprise of his followers. In 1981, Forrest receives a letter from Jenny, prompting him to wait at the bus stop where he has been anticipating her arrival. An elderly woman informs him that the address is merely 5 or 6 blocks away, prompting Forrest to hurry off. Reuniting with Jenny once again, Forrest discovers that she has overcome drug abuse and transformed her life. To his surprise, Jenny introduces him to their son, Forrest Gump Jr., revealing Forrest as the father. Initially taken aback, he expresses a deep concern and curiosity about their son, wondering if he is like him. She affirms that Forrest Jr. is, in fact, one of the smartest of his class. Gradually, Forrest develops a connection with his son while enjoying cartoons together on television. Jenny later discloses that she is battling an incurable illness, referred to as some kind of virus, with no viable medical solutions. In light of her health, Jenny proposes marriage to Forrest, an offer he joyfully accepts. The three of them relocate to Greenbow. Lieutenant Dan, now equipped with titanium alloy prosthetics, attends their wedding with his fiancée, Susan, a Vietnamese woman. A year later, Jenny succumbs to her illness, leaving Forrest profoundly saddened. Despite his grief, Forrest becomes a devoted and loving father to Forrest Jr. Their shared activities, such as playing ping pong and fishing, strengthen their father-son relationship. Additionally, Forrest purchases the land that once belonged to Jenny's father and has the house demolished. The narrative comes full circle when Forrest's son, Forrest Jr., arrives at the bus stop to board the school bus. Forrest, who is sending his son off to school, expresses his love and hopes for his son's future. One of the symbolic elements of the movie ending is the reappearance of the feather that floated through the air in the opening scene of the movie. The feather is seen drifting away as the film concludes, representing the transient and unpredictable nature of life. We hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please give us a thumbs up and leave a comment down below. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss a video. Thanks for watching.